Cool, hello everyone, welcome back. Sorry about that, had strange issues with the microphone. This, obviously this stream is a bit cursed. So I'm afraid I have to apologise for the last stream, which was on Saturday. It turns out I didn't actually stream most of it, and I'm only just coming back to redoing that now. I'm going to recreate the code that I did last week. The great thing is I've already done it once, so hopefully that will make it a bit smoother. But yeah, first thing I guess is to look at where we got to on the game, and localhost 8080. So we've got this lovely dazzling menu screen with a button, and we got to this where it's recording the mouse locations and printing that to the screen. So we will, yeah, I can't remember what the first thing was. I think the first thing is to get rid of this old thing, and we're also going to set the screen size. So the canvas we're going to limit to being 800 by 600, and that's so that we can get all of our graphics together. So we're going to do that now. That happens on the game page where we actually create the canvas down here, the canvas element, and we were setting it to 100% of the view width. We'll change that to 800 pixels, and the height is going to be 600 pixels. We'll save that and restart the server, and we can see now, and it goes from 00, roughly 00, all the way up to around 800, 600 there. Can't quite get the top pixel. I also apologise to everyone, I'm a little bit groggy today. I've got a bit of a cold. It's a lot better than it was on Saturday, so maybe in a way it's good that it's not that it didn't actually work. I had to redo the session. The code has been preserved. It's in a branch, so if you want to look at that, you can. There's a link in the show notes of this live stream, so you can go and see the code. I won't be pushing during the stream, but I will push afterwards, so you can see all the updated code there. So the next thing I'm going to do is get rid of everything, really. I'm going to cut this out and stick it underneath here and comment it out. The reason is because I actually want to bring some of it back in. And I think that actually it'll be really useful to have the location printed to the top of the screen, but the font is too big. So I'm going to make that into a size 12 font, and so I think that wants to be 10, and I think 15 for this. Let's give that a go. We'll restart. Come here, and we refresh, and no, that's not working. Now, why isn't that working? Let's have a look. Good news is I can actually compare against the code that I wrote that's in that branch to see where I went wrong. And where I went wrong is I'm not setting the fill style, so we need to have that bit as well, because otherwise we lose the setting it to the red colour on the canvas context. Refresh, and we've got this tiny little like debug thing here. We can turn that off later, but I think it'll be really useful, particularly for figuring out where things are on the image. So we've got our 800 by 600, and I wanted to create the back wall first, and the back wall is going to be, well, originally I was going to go for 120 by 90, but then I realized that actually we could get something a bit better if we go for 120 by 96, because we can make each pixel 24 pixels wide to start with. And this is an application that I wrote a while back for creating images, and there are lots of pixel art applications out there. I created this one because it has a couple of features that I don't know if you can do in those other ones. You probably can. But I'm going to call this back wall, I'm actually going to call this back wall 2 because the other one is still there. I realise I forgot to delete it. Back wall for the wizard game. And we want to make this 120 pixels wide and 96 pixels high. And we'll set the pixel width to 24. The reason 24 is because the application can double the pixel density, essentially halving the size of each block, meaning we can block color stuff and then get smaller and smaller in there. And I mean, it starts off as a 5x4 grid, so it's not really a lot on there, but we can block out the color a bit in here, and we go for like a sandy brown color, quite like this sandstone look. Yeah, let's go with that, and we'll just paint the pixels in here. Again, we're just blocking right now, so it's so we save it and transform. So now we've doubled the pixel density essentially, and we can zoom in, move it around here. If anyone's interested in this application, it's still very much in development. I just thought I'd use it for now because it's the one that I know how it works. So I thought it might be a bit easier to block out the graphics, and then we'll do like I'm going to do like very rough blocky graphics today, and then we'll do some better graphics later on as the game comes together. But it means that I can sort of choose to do different things as we go on. So I'm not like limited to just development. I can do some development, some graphic design. We can do those, mix those in. So I'm actually going to double this again straight away. So this will go down to 6 pixels per block. Cool. Now we're starting to get somewhere. And finally, going to do it once more, and that should take us down to 3. And that should give us lots of pixels to play with to be able to fill in the mortar within the wall. Yeah, cool. Sounds better. Cool. So now we need to pick a color for the mortar. Actually, going to sample that color and then just go a bit darker there. Paint. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I suppose each block 5 wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Should have started at the bottom. Is that 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, and then there. Cool. So that's where oops. And then we will make each block, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 sounds good. So we can do that. It's good to make it an odd number because it then means that we can get the one in the middle, which would be number 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 down here. Cool. Once we've got a few, we can actually start to use the old ones to guide the new ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I didn't do that one right, did I? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which means that one needs to move that way 1. Okay, that's better. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It goes in there. Okay, that's a bit strange to have an ending on the end of the wall, but there we go. Like I said, we can make this improved later on. Yeah, unfortunately, one of the features I haven't got around to doing yet is to do lines or fills, because fills would be really useful to be able to like block change the colors. But one of the features that I have put in is the ability to so I can probably eyeball these now. Is the ability to change the colors render time. So you can pick any of these, you get a list of the colors you've used, and you can substitute them in. So if we want to turn this into a blue wall, we could very easily. Cool, the middle is there. So I'm only going to put like this level of detail into the back wall. I'm not going to do the side walls because they're going to end up being redone at some point. I won't put this level of detail, but I think having the back wall is going to be good. My plan for the for an upcoming one of these streams is to be able to start to put the code in that will do the distance measuring. So it'll measure how far to the back wall, and so my plan is to make the first like fireball that you fire start at the wand that we're going to put in, and then it'll like get smaller and smaller and smaller until it hits the back wall, and then it'll leave a mark on the back wall, and then that mark will fade away over time. Oops. Yeah, I meant to actually add the line feature in, excuse me, and the fill feature in. Well, I was thinking about doing it today, but then I felt that actually I'd rather come back and redo this stream, and then I'm hoping to feel suitably inspired on Saturday, and that can pick it up again. Excuse me, and do another one then. Get this going all the way to the end. So you're just going to save it quickly. Did I actually click save? We'll find out in a minute. This is another problem, no loading spinners. I did hit save, so you only know that it's finished saving when the little pop out rolls back again. Not the best system in the world, but it's what we have for now. You would do that. On the end. Cool, well I think that's ready to go. I've also added in to this the concept of shaders. So one of the things I wanted was to be able to, on the fly during the rendering process, change the color for a sprite sheet, so for animations and things like that. and that's, I mean, it works, but then the problem is you can't get different like shaded tones in there. So I built like this shader layer so that you can shade specific parts with white and black in the alpha channel, and add that shading in, but the color still remains true, so you can end up with interesting effects. Unfortunately, I haven't finished adding that to the rendering pipeline for the application, so it won't actually render that out, so it's not worth doing. Okay, so this is back wall 2. You can see the graphics that I did for the last one, and like I said, I ended up with spending a lot more time on the back wall than I did the other walls, and I stand by that because I think it's going to change. But actually, the back wall, this one looks quite good. I'm quite happy with this. Actually, I think I prefer this to to the one I did previously. In fact, so there we go. I'm going to create a new folder called assets in here, and I'll save this as back wall. There we go. Come and look in assets. We've now got our back wall, and it's in there. Great, cool. So let's draw this, and really the best way to get started with this is to create a new. In fact, let's create a new folder, and I cannot remember what I called the folder last time, but I seem to remember I was quite happy with it. Yeah, just called it assets. So create a new module, call it assets, and create the mods.rs file. We will call this backwall, and then create backwall.rs. And for now, let's just create a struct called backwall. Gonna call this, actually, you know what? Gonna create a utils class. I didn't do this last time, and I kind of regretted not doing it. Create a point here, and that's going to have an X of f64 and a Y of f64. And in here, oops, we'll use the create utils points. And of course, you need to actually bring that in. So well, we need to put assets in, and we also need to bring utils in as well. These will be some like useful utilities that we can put in later, particularly when we get into geometry and stuff. It'll be useful to have that there. That should be a capital. And we'll call that lock, and that will be a points. And then we'll implement backwall, pub-fun new, and returns self. Let me just consult what I did last time. Yeah. So and this we need to pass in an X of f64 and a Y of f64, and actually in the utils going to implement that as well. Points find new f64 returns self. This will be a point where the X is X and the Y is Y. Oops. Here we're going to return a back wall with the lock being point new x y. There we go. And we also need to add in one more thing, which is the actual image itself, and that will be of type HTML image elements. Oh, look at that! It's imported it for us. That's brilliant. Right, and in here we're going to let image equal HTML image element new dot unwrap. We're going to set the image set source, which is similar to the JavaScript but slightly different, and that will need to be a constant. So we'll create a constant called backwall image name. The type of that will be a pointer to a string, and be equal to .assets, which is yeah, I realized that I've made a mistake here in that I didn't create a subfolder in here called images, so let me drop that in there. I'm just going to move that. There we go. So we've now got this folder here, assets, images, backwall, and we can set that to the constant there. And of course we're missing the image attribute, so we do that, and cool, everything is happy. Why is that? Oh, because new's not being called. Okay, that's why it thinks that it's not being used. Cool, so we'll come back to our game, and inside the create function, we will yeah, inside, where is that? I'm just going to, yeah, inside here. We're going to, this is where we're going to create our back wall, or put create walls because it's going to be everywhere. But first we need to add in a back wall type here. So back wall. Is that going to do the import for us? It did. Amazing. Cool. So let's do back wall equal to back wall new. And this is going to need to be in the middle, so in the dead center. So I propose making game width and game height into values. So the game width is 800.0 and the game height is going to be 600. And that way we can just do game width over 2.0 and game height over 2.0 here. And back wall. There we go. So that satisfies that. Yeah, really, that's everything. So yeah. And then on the back wall, we're also we're gonna make the back wall draw itself. So we're going to create a render function on that, and that is obviously going to take self as an argument, and also the CTX is a canvas rendering context 2D, and it's not going to return anything. Oh yeah, it's added it in already, brilliant. Cool, so the x is going to be self.lock.x minus self.image.width. Oops. Need to cast that as an F64 and then divide by 2.0. And the y position is going to be this, because we essentially need to offset by half of the image height. So what does it not like about this? X is private. Okay, so that needs to be public. Back wall here. Cool. Right, and now we need to call this function. So ctx.drawImage with HTML. With image element. Hang on. Draw image with HTML image element, and then SW. So we want the SW, SH, DX, DY, DW, DH. We want all of it. SW, SH are the offset from the image. So how far from the source image you want to start extracting the bit you want to copy. and that's the same. So the X and Y are the offset, the width and height are how much of the image, the original image you want to take. So it's S is for source, and then D is for destination. So then it's the destination X, destination Y, DW, DH. And I'm going to break this out over multiple lines because otherwise it will look really horrible. I mean, unfortunately, this function takes so many arguments, it looks quite horrible anyway. But hopefully laid out like this, it won't be too difficult to understand what's going on. So we actually want the whole image on this one because we're not doing any animations or anything. So we're going to start from 0, 0, 0 to the top left-hand corner, and we're going to take the self.image.width as f64, because everything to this is an f64. And then the destination X and the destination Y are going to be the values we calculated above. And because we don't want to scale it at all, we're just going to set this to be the width as f64, and self.height image.height as f64 as well. So all of those in there. Now this is complaining because it's returning a result and we're ignoring it. We could handle the result, but in order to hide the warning, I'm actually just going to do that. So we're just going to ignore it. But at least this way we've explicitly told the compiler, so it knows that we're ignoring it. We could also call unwrap here, I think, but I quite like this as a mechanism because it kind of just reminds us, yeah, we didn't care about that. So we come to game. In here, and we want to actually put, this is, so draw game elements, and put here debug information, because then we can put end debug information, just to make it easier to comment it out later on when we want to get rid of it. So here, pretty much just want to call self.backwall.render and pass in the mutable reference to the CTX, and it will complain because we didn't set that to be mutable here. So with that being mutable, now we should have everything. We call build. Yep, no errors. So come back to the game and we see it's not displaying. And I remember this was a problem we had last time. The reason it's not displaying is because inside the dist folder, which is where it's actually serving from, so when you call trunk serve, that's where it's serving from, there's no assets folder. So it should have copied the assets across, and that's my fault. I didn't put in here the link. I'm just gonna look up the syntax quickly for this. It is link data trunk rel copy dir, and that just means copy this directory that's named here into the output folder. So we do that. We can see we've now got our assets file in there, and we've got the back wall drawing on the back wall there. So that's cool. Right. Yeah, so there we go. This is the start of our game. We've drawn our first graphic in there, which is really cool. So next thing, we need to go back here and start creating our new walls for the back. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to make this. I think I'm going to make the stream a little bit shorter. I am actually going to reuse the wall assets that I created before, and just because they're quite boring. So you see, it's literally just a grey floor that we have here, and yeah. So I'm just gonna get the image sheet, do save image as. I'm just gonna reuse it. So I'm sorry, I did say I would create everything that's shown on the stream, but I also think this needs to be improved later on, and I spent ages. Basically, you're just going to end up watching me fill in all the pixels as I go through, and that's really going to be really quite boring to watch. So I think just to save everyone's sanity, that will probably be a better use of our time. So inside the images folder, save this as floor.png. And then I will go back, and I think I didn't include the ability to add rotations yet. This was something I had in the old app. The old app was written in Go. This new one I've rewritten in Rust. Again, this is all open source as well, so I will try and remember to add a link to the Pixel app inside there. It's in the GitHub as well. But yeah, I'm actually going to make let's see, so we can substitute colors. So this is what I was saying about the substituting colors. So the floor is grey. I'm going to make the ceiling like a dark green, because I think that would look quite cool. And then I'll render with colors. So now we've got it in green as well. So we'll save that as ceiling, and we'll go back and we'll render the walls. So the walls, I will get them the same. So I'll just do get image sheet for that one. This is the left wall. Now I did include a flip, so you can in fact just flip the. No, okay. Render frame, there we go. Yeah, so I can flip left and right. Can't flip top to bottom. It's something that needs to be fixed, and it's on the change list for the future, but not quite yet. So the next thing I'm going to do is open up GIMP. And open the code VCC clone, assets, images, and we take ceiling, and I'm literally just going to it's been a while since I've done this. Flip vertically, there we go. And then we'll just do export as, and we'll save it as ceiling. Export that, and that's the quickest way to do that. I'll discard changes because I don't really care. There we go, we've got the ceiling, our floor, our left wall, and our right wall. The ceiling is obviously, the whole graphic is 800 pixels across, and it's only 300 deep because that's the height. Sorry, height over 2, so it only goes to the middle, and same with the floor, and then left wall is the opposite, so it's 600 pixels high and only 400 pixels wide, which gives us this. So the next thing I'm going to do is create a new file here called wall, and this is going to handle all of the walls, and we'll do that using an enum. Call it wall type, and instead of using floor and ceiling, I'm going to use bottom, top, left and right, and create a struct called wall, and this will have a location, which will be a point. It will have an image, which will be you know what, I'm actually just going to copy it straight from back wall, because it will, there we go, and it's also going to have a wall type as well, wall type, there we go. So we then want to implement this, find new, and it's going to be exactly the same as the other one, but with a wall type in as well. And I actually just going to consult the previous code I've got on the screen. Alt-RS. Yeah, so inside the new, we're going to do a let image equals match wall type in here. And if it's our wall type bottom, going to return a return an image, HTML image element equals HTML image element new dot unwrap, and then we're going to do image dot set source, and this is where we need to create some new consts. So we'll create const. We'll call this bottom wall image name. That'll be astra equal to assets images floor.png. Left and the right, and then this will be ceiling. Left wall, right wall. Put that there. So I'm surprised this hasn't. Warned me. I know why it hasn't done it. Oops, because we haven't declared the. So this should now tell me that I'm missing, yeah, there we go. So I'm missing the different arms of here, and quick fix is just to fill the match arms. So I've got those there. Cool, and it's now telling me this, import the websys, there we go. Cool, so I've got some nice IntelliSense there helping me out. And this needs to be the bottom wall image name, and we'll just return image. Actually, for this, I will just replace all of the to-dos here, and then I will just change this to be the different const names. It needs to be a wall type, and the location will be point new xy, image will be image, and the wall type will be wall type. That is everything we need, except we need to do the imports, so create utils point, so that we can get that in. Oh, it's like this. Why is it not like that? Visibility quantifiers. Okay, that's, there we go. That's better. Did I make the same mistake on backwall? No, I didn't. Okay, yeah, I tried to declare the implementation as public, but that doesn't make any sense because you declare it on the internal elements there. So we've now got our wall, and we need to render, and actually the render, excuse me, is going to look almost exactly the same as this, so we can actually just copy and paste this, hoping to have somewhere a flash of inspiration to be able to consolidate these rendering items. I'm not sure the walls will work because we're not, I think it'll just make them too complicated, but I think for now this is fine. I just need a quick fix, we'll just import that there. Cool, so we're not calling you, not calling anything. Okay, so it's complaining that we're not actually calling it anywhere yet, but let's go back to here, and we're now going to create a vector of walls. I suspect it will complain, we don't have the, yes, cool. Does it add it in Why has it brought self in there? Okay, it hasn't done this very nicely. So I'm just going to edit the way that this is laid out. Put them in alphabetical order. Oops. There we go. Cool. So bring that in. In fact, actually, we're going to want to bring star in from wall because we want to get access to the wall type as well. And I'm going to create a vec of walls. Onto vec new. Excuse me. I think I might need to sneeze. No, got away with it. Yeah, sorry, thought I was going to sneeze. Yep, this is going to be a vec new. In fact, let's create, let's add the type in there explicitly. Cool, and then we can add the walls. It's going to be our vector of walls. And then it's currently telling us that we don't need that because we don't need the mute because we're not actually changing it, but we're about to change it. So we want to push in the vec walls dot push. We're going to push in wall new. This is going to be I think we want to push the left wall in first. So we'll do game width over 4.0 because it's like halfway between the halfway point and the so it's a quarter of the way across. That's where we want it. And the height will be, or the Y position will be game height over 2.0. And we need to specify the wall type, and that will be wall type left. So do the same thing for the right wall, except that we need to change the position to be, in fact, I'm going to multiply this so it's 3/4 of the way across, otherwise we're going to end up to do game width times 3 over 4. And then we'll do the ceiling next. This is also bottom. This is also the rendering order as well, because it'll just go through the vector in order when it does the rendering. So it's game width over 2, and game height is going to be over 4, because again, just want it a quarter of the way down. And this will be, again, times by 0.75, just because it looks a bit neater. In fact, actually, well, that's supposed to be the ceiling, so that needs to be top, not bottom. There we go. Cool, so now we've got all of our walls in a vector, and we should be able to, hi Gandalf Ledev. Glad to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Cool, and yeah, so now we've got our back wall. We actually want our back wall to render last because we want that to appear on top of all of the other walls in terms of the render order. So we will do for wall in self.walls.iter. And then we'll just call wall.render and pass in the immutable context. And no complaints from the compiler. And there we go, there's our room. So that is, that's basically where I think I'm going to leave it. This is where I left off the last stream. You can still view it. It's the last 16 minutes of the stream. Oh, cool. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry, Gandalf Ledev says the YouTube algorithm is kind of powerful, and he was watching a Rust video and the stream recommended to me. Cool. Well, thank you for stopping by. I'm afraid this is going to be the the end of the stream, because this is actually a sort of midweek replacement for last Saturday's disaster of a stream where I forgot to actually stream until the last 15 minutes. But this Saturday, I'm hoping to pick it up again, and I'll be adding in the first part of the distance calculations, and I'm hoping that by the end we'll be able to have a fireball that you can fire all the way down to the end of the room, and it will end up on hitting the back wall. And then if we've got time, or if it goes well, then we'll end up trying to implement the calculating how far along the wall it goes as well, so it doesn't last as long and just kind of explodes against the wall, and also leave a trace or trail on the wall that will then fade over time. So yeah, I hope you can join us then. There are links to the code and everything will be in there. I'm also going to get a lot better at trying to schedule the streams ahead of time so that they become more obvious. But if you haven't already, please please consider subscribing, and you should get a notification when I set up a stream and when I'm going to be going live and everything. But yeah, for now, thank you very much for stopping by. Thanks for sending a message as well. I love interacting with people on here. So yeah, have a really great evening, and I hope to see you on Saturday, if not before. Great. Thank you. Now I'm going to try and figure out how to do this. Yeah, great. Okay, have a great evening. Thanks. Bye.